Hello, this is Brendan Brockway. I'm presenting my research for Project 2. I made a dungeon generator. So the tutorial I used is based off of the dungeon generator system used in Wasteland Kings / Nuclear Throne. They were the same game, just the Wasteland Kings was a game jam and Nuclear Throne was like the full completed version. I have a picture of it on the next slide, and these are the links for the tutorial I used. And this is a link for some other resources I used reading up on the generator. And I also want to note that I did not use the method to remove single walls that was in the tutorial because I kind of liked having the single walls. I thought it would be nice to have like random walls jutting out just as like some kind of obstacle. So on the left here is a picture of the tutorial I used. On the right is a picture from the game. I believe this is the Nuclear Thrones version of the game, not the Wasteland Kings, but I might be wrong about that. Now for a demo. If it will load. Okay, here we go. Actually, let me do that let me maximize that. So as you can see, just pretty simple randomly generated rooms for a dungeon. I'll do it a few times just so everyone can get a general idea. And yeah, as you can see, I still have these single walls. I thought that'd be kind of nice just to have a few more obstacles in the level. Okay, let me go back to the slides. Okay, so the tiles that are placed down are just a pretty simple like 2D square connected to a empty game object. And this is the pretty generic. I just changed the color of them and didn't really do too much else in there. And the floors are beige and the walls are like kind of like a maroon color. And for initialization, I used an enumerator for the grid spaces. This picture kind of cut out a bit, but you can see everything you need to. So it's just a public class for the level gen. Let me see. And I use serialized fields so I could see them in these fields in the inspector. So if I wanted to change them later on, I could. And I use a struct for the walker just so it'd be a little more. I'm actually not completely sure why the tutorial wanted me to use a struct, but I didn't want to stray from it too far on the research portion. I might have. I'm sorry. Okay, and then the floors and walls. So they're created by using what the tutorial called a walker, which is basically just like an empty game object that travels around the map and on the grid and then places down either a floor or a wall. And the methods are on the next slide. So this is the create the floors, the first half of the method. It's pretty long, so I had to split it up. So yeah, it just keeps track of the iterations so it doesn't have an infinite loop. And then for each of the walkers in I'm kind of struggling here right now, but yeah. Basically, the walker goes around the room and it places down randomly places down floor tiles. And it also has a chance to destroy the walkers and change the direction. And the reason it destroys the walkers is I'll show it on the next slide, but it also places them, can generate more walkers, so it only destroys them if there's more than one. Yeah, right here. And this is the change direction, which uses a random value to change the direction between either going like up, down, right, left. And this is the spawn portion of the method. I already kind of explained that, but yeah, it just basically picks a random value, and if that's less than the spawn, the chance to spawn, which was sorry, I'm getting lost in my own code. If it's less than that yet, and the walker count is less than the max walkers, it'll create a new one. And this is where it moves it. So it just basically just concatenates onto the position from the direction. And this portion is just to keep the walkers on the grid so they don't go off of the map. And this is just a break if the iterations are less than, well, they're less than 10,000. Sorry, that's 100,000. And the walls are made pretty similar to the floors, except instead of just placing them randomly, it checks to see if there already is a floor, and if there is, it'll check all the tile. It'll go through all the scenarios of whether there is something above it or below it or to the right or the left of it, and it'll place a wall there on an empty space. And then this is the spawn level method, which uses the spawn method above it to iterate through the grid and then place a tile onto the grid. And then going forward, I like to try to make my dungeon generator more like the one from Nuclear Throne. To do this, I could add chests, enemies, and I'd like to add a player as well. I'd also like to make my own textures for the floors, walls, and anything else that I add to the creative portion. And thank you for watching.